Yo, yo, yo. What is good, everybody? This is your guy, Manny, and this is Talking Sports with Manny. So, NBA draft is tonight. There's a lot of drama going on in the NBA right now. Lots of trade offers, lots of, teams looking for, I would call it a bargain deal as we speak. Some people are looking for, either a lottery pick, or you have those teams that are looking for that next vet that can come in and help, that team go to that next level. So I'm going to run my intro. We're going to run through some trades that have happened, some trades that may happen. We're going to talk a little bit about Kyrie, KD, and the whole saga with the Brooklyn Nets. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and get this thing on and popping. I would say the biggest thing so far is teams like the Detroit Pistons or the Portland Trailblazers, teams that have the cap room to go ahead and acquire some talent. They're doing the best they can because they have the cap space, so they can literally just trade a draft pick. Man, what's good, Timeout Sportsman? I can't wait for tonight. I don't know if I'm going to be tuning in, but I am going to have the tracker on my phone following every single pick for pick. It's going to be fun. Haven't really started diving into the draft until literally today. I didn't even realize that that this was draft week. It's usually right after the finals, like the very next week. You got the draft week. You got teams working out people. My team, the Los Angeles Lakers, they've been working out Shareef O'Neal. But when I look at Shareef O'Neal, I haven't really seen anything that warrants that he gets drafted. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Shareef O'Neal does not get drafted. He's a guy that goes undrafted, or a team takes a flyer on him from picks 50 to 60. That's kind of where I see him going. But let's go ahead and talk about the Brooklyn Nets, man. Lots of drama right now. Kyrie and the Brooklyn Nets have not come together to, get a deal done. So two things could happen. Kyrie can opt in. Well, three things can happen. Kyrie can opt in, play out this year under just that last year of his deal, $36 million, or he can opt in and get it and possibly get traded, right? Also, he has a trade kicker, so that means if he gets traded, he gets an extra $4.4 million, which the Brooklyn Nets have to pay him. If he wants to get paid, knowing Kyrie, he's going to want to get paid. I don't see him waving off anything. Kyrie lost a lot of money last year, I think up to $17 million sitting out because of COVID. Kyrie is a phenomenal talent. When he's healthy, when he's available, there is nobody in the league like Kyrie. But the thing with Kyrie is you don't know what Kyrie's going to give you. You don't know if Kyrie's going to quit basketball today. Kyrie is just Kyrie. Kyrie just does Kyrie type thing. So, you hear, Kyrie's interested in teams like the Lakers, the Clippers, the Miami Heat, the 76ers. There's several teams. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to run through all the rumors, all the possibilities, what could happen. But also, if Kyrie does, for some reason, if he gets traded, Kevin Durant is gone. Kevin Durant is as good as gone. He has said it. It's all about doing what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? We have seen people like James Harden do what's best for him. He said, look, James Harden saw what was going on in Brooklyn and said, look, man, I got to get out of here. And you cannot blame him. You can't blame him. So let me go ahead and put in Kyrie real quick into the search box so you guys can see all the stuff that's happening. So this news came out earlier. It says Kevin Durant is monitoring the Brooklyn Nets situation and considering his options with his future. This now opens the path for Kyrie to proceed on finding a new team. So it's like at this point, KD has no loyalties to Kyrie. And Kyrie never had any loyalties to anybody but himself. So you can see a scenario where KD just says, look, whether Kyrie's coming back or not, I'm gone. Okay, so what happens if Kyrie leaves and then KD leaves? This will leave the Brooklyn Nets without a first-round pick. I think the Rockets own all those draft picks up until 2027, I believe. So, of course, the Houston Rockets want the Nets to implode. But we all know that if you're going to trade a Kevin Durant, you're going to get a lot of assets back. You're talking about two to 5 first-round picks. Yes, KD is worth 5 first-round picks. I honestly do. I mean, he is KD, right? He's an MVP candidate. He's one of the best players in the world still. So he's going to command a lot of young assets. So any team that's trading for Kevin Durant, they literally have to give up 5 to 7 assets just to get Kevin Durant. Now, somebody posted this. They said, would you take a trade, if there was a 1-for-1 trade right now, KD for AD, would you do the deal? I will take KD right now for AD. I don't care about AD's age. I don't care about that when KD is done with his 4-year contract, he'll be 37. I don't care about that. KD is one of the best in the world, and if the Lakers are truly trying to win a title, you go ahead and you get KD because he's more available than AD. We don't even know what we have in AD, speaking from a Lakers fan perspective. So, yeah, I would do it. I would definitely do a trade KD for AD because what does that mean? You already have LeBron, right? Why not go all in? Every year the Lakers have gone all in. In a scenario for the Lakers to go ahead and get a Kyrie from the Nets, he'll have to opt in, right? Lakers can only offer what? Russell Westbrook and possibly maybe a couple first-round picks, maybe a 2027 first. That's probably the best they can get out of the Lakers. Maybe another young player like Austin Reeves or something, but they can't get much. You know, contracts have to match. And I think bringing Kyrie on, they'll have to toss in a few players. Maybe a guy like Seth Curry could be a possibility. So the contracts have to match because Russell is up, 47 million to Kyrie's 36 million. So they'll definitely have to put in some fillers here and there, some guys that are expendable, some guys that they don't really care about, just to make that work. So definitely looking forward to that trade. So, you know, you have the fans out there saying, you know, KD to the Suns. Like, KD can literally end up on any team right now. If all this was to go down, you know, I'm seeing scenarios where somebody's saying, you know, they want KD in a Clippers uniform. That could possibly happen. If this happens, I don't see how this team cannot win a title. Even if you have 2 of the 3 healthy, I mean, 2 of the 3 is good enough. The reason why the Clippers haven't done anything is that it's been either PG is healthy, Kawhi hasn't really been healthy. They do have a lot of good role players, but a lot of those role players will have to go in a deal to get either a KD or a Kyrie. So Clippers fans, they want one of these 2 guys. And I'm telling you guys right now, if Kyrie ends up with these 2, I mean, it makes their title hopes very strong. And even though I don't like the Clippers, the truth is truth. Facts are facts, right? So let's see what else they're saying about Kyrie. I want to dissect everything. I'm even seeing the Sixers should offer James Harden. I mean, look, everybody wants KD. Everybody wants Kyrie. A Kyrie and Joel Embiid-led team does sound pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's all about, is Kyrie willing to play? Is Kyrie willing to be the Kyrie of the past? Like, we saw what Kyrie did when he actually did play this season. I mean, he was putting up some monster numbers. It was just that, you know, he didn't play that many games because he sat out all those bunch of games. And then when he was able to play, you know, he really balled out. I think Kyrie he's rested. He wants a place where he can grow, a place where he can call home. And the Lakers does sound pretty good, but I don't even know how that's going to work. It's all going to be on Kyrie. LeBron wants Kyrie. Kyrie wants LeBron. The Lakers obviously want Kyrie, but do the Brooklyn Nets want any of the assets that are going to be offered? That's what it's all going to be boiled down to. And I don't know if that works. But yeah, I can definitely see a scenario where the Brooklyn Nets lose both of these guys. And if they do, man, their season is going to look crazy. But let's go ahead and look at the Portland Trail Blazers. I think they picked up Jeremy Grant. Let's look at that deal. Let's see what we can find on Jeremy Grant. So Jeremy Grant is now part of the Trailblazers. And all the Trailblazers were able to offer was a 2025 first-round pick. So you get Jeremy Grant, a guy who was a 20-point scorer a few years ago, hasn't really been healthy. They do take on that $56 million, sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Sorry. The Detroit Pistons have just over $56 million. And speaking of the Detroit Pistons, DeAndre Ayton might be a guy that goes to the Pistons because they have all this money. They can offer a lot of guys some serious cash this summer. And in the NBA, you go get your cash. You forget about fit. You go get your cash while you can get your cash. That's what Jeremy Grant was able to do. He went to the Pistons. It didn't work out. The team was trash. The team didn't even produce. And what did Jeremy Grant do? Essentially, now he's getting traded. He already has the bag. Now he's trying to get that fit that works best for him. So like I said, the Pistons traded Jeremy Grant to the Trailblazers for a 2025 first-round pick. So now the Trailblazers are building. I'm hearing rumors, I'm hearing rumblings that the Trailblazers are also interested in OG Anunoby. He can be a guy that comes in, he gives you more than what CJ McCullough could give you in terms of being a two-way player. You get Dame Lillard, you have Jeremy Grant, you have OG Anunoby. What does that tell you? Jeremy Grant is a great two-way player, and so is OG Anunoby. So they're seeing that, hey, CJ McCullough and Dame, that didn't work. Maybe now we go with two-way players. We go with guys that can do a little bit of both. They had Gary Trent Jr., but he was just a scorer. He was a guy that, knocked down threes, scored a lot of points, but couldn't play defense. So now they are changing their strategy. They had Robert Covington. That didn't really work out. He was more of a one-way guy, more of a defender than a offensive player. So they had to let him go. So who knows what else the Trailblazers do this year. But all these different teams that have money, is definitely going to be interesting to see what they do. Now, we get into the NBA draft and what could possibly happen. We all know that Christian Wood got traded from the Houston Rockets to the Dallas Mavericks, and that trade was pretty much for free. That was a free trade. Like, the Dallas Mavericks got better without really giving up anything. But I wonder if that's going to affect what happens with guys like Jalen Brunson come free agency. So it's real interesting to see what happens and how the landscape is going to change. You have players like Michael Brogdon. He's been linked to the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards are looking for a veteran point guard. They're also looking at guys like Monte Morris, and even Devontae Graham. We don't know what happens with the Wizards. Like, the Wizards are in a unique spot. They have the number 10 pick. Do you draft a guy that can come in and potentially be that next franchise type player, or do you just go ahead and trade the pick? We've seen that the Wizards have not hit on these picks that they've drafted over and over and over again. The Wizards are better at making trades. They traded for Kuzma. Kuzma's been a great addition. Rui Hachimura, he might not be on the team after tonight. I don't know. Like, he's a guy that has potential, but he just hasn't really gone to that next level. And he's going into year 3. You have Danny Avdia. So you have all these different guys that the Wizards have been drafting year after year. Troy Brown, and the list goes on and on. And the more I give you guys this list, the worse it sounds. Chris Britt was a great addition, a rotational guy, a guy that can knock down shots and play a little defense, but he's not a game changer. So can the Wizards really find a game changer at 10? I guess that's why you continue to take stabs, because you never know. Dame Lillard was drafted, as an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? I had a post up, and it was about the Sacramento Kings. They've been so bad this year. Every year, literally. I have let me try to find it. Uh-oh. Check my notifications real quick. Make sure I'm not missing anything crazy or anything crazy good. So D'Angelo Russell, he's on the trade block. We all know that, but who's willing to take on that contract? To think that the Minnesota Timberwolves traded away D'Angelo Russell. Trade away Andrew Wiggins, really. And, added a first-round pick on top of that to get D'Angelo Russell, and it has not worked out. It has not been the same for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have so many problems, so many issues on hitting on players. Let me see what they're saying. If Kevin Durant is traded, where do you want to see him end up? If he's traded, trade him to the East. I don't want to see him in the West. Trade him to the East. I don't know. Trade him to DC. Hey, maybe Bradley Beal does a sign and trade. You get KD to DC. You get Bradley Beal to Brooklyn. Link him up with Russell Westbrook, Kyrie to the Lakers. They'll be beautiful. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal once again on the Brooklyn Nets. Now, look, I'm just joking. That's not something that I see happening, but you just never know. But I'm trying to find this post that I made about the Sacramento Kings, and they've made so many bad moves. Okay, so here's my guy, Kevin, and Kevin said, the Sacramento Kings drafted Tyreke Evans over Steph Curry. They drafted Bismack Biyombo over Kawhi Leonard. They drafted Ben McLemore over Giannis. They drafted Nick Stauskas over Zach LaVine. They drafted Willie Cauley-Stein over Devin Booker. They drafted Zach Collins over Bam Adebayo. They drafted Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic. Now, here is the problem with this. Everybody thinks just because you don't draft a guy. See, what if the Kings draft Steph Curry? He might not have became the Steph Curry he is today. Sometimes situations and where you go literally shapes you, right? So at the time, Tyreke Evans was a baller. Matter of fact, Tyreke Evans had better early seasons than Steph Curry. We have to remember that Steph Curry kept getting hurt. He had that bad ankle. So you can't just say, oh, Tyreke Evans was a bad pick. Tyreke Evans was a good pick. He just didn't pan out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Steph was a good pick at the time, but he struggled. Like even Steph Curry would tell you from an interview that I was watching with him and Draymond Green, he was saying, look, he didn't even know if he was going to go, like he had injury issues. He just never knew if he could ever get healthy. And Mark Jackson really brought the best out of Steph Curry. Without Mark Jackson, there is no Steph Curry. So we have to remember that. Now, the Bismack Biyombo over Kawhi Leonard, that's kind of crazy. But at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard was picked what? Middle of the first round? Let's look this thing up real quick. Kawhi Leonard. Because people like to talk about, oh, you should have. Kawhi Leonard was picked number 15. Okay, if Kawhi Leonard was so great in the scouts' eyes, now the scouts missed it. I'm not making excuses for these guys, but Kawhi Leonard was pick 15, and that's one pick outside of the lottery. Okay, now, sometimes in the lottery you're picking upsides. You're picking the guys that you feel could project a higher upside. That's like you're trying to find that next franchise player. Every guy that you draft in the top 14, you're wishing that those guys end up being franchise guys, and that's not what tends to happen. So here's what happened. Kawhi Leonard gets drafted, pick 15. He goes to the right situation. He ends up on the Spurs with that crazy trade with the Pacers. Man, I guarantee you the Pacers are just kicking themselves right now. George Hill ends up on the Pacers, and then Kawhi Leonard ends up on the Spurs. But then Kawhi's skills are cultivated. Greg Popovich brought out the best in Kawhi. Without Greg Popovich, there's no Kawhi today. So we have to remember that. It's just not, a player got drafted or he was a Hall of Fame potential guy and nobody drafted him. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Giannis. Giannis was also similar to Kawhi Leonard. Giannis was drafted. Let me look this up. I want to say Giannis was drafted pick 15 just as well. But let me go ahead and confirm that. Yep, pick 15 in 2013. Now, he was a project. When Giannis came in, he's not the Giannis that he is today. Giannis was skinny. He was raw. He was coming in from, overseas. He played some ball over there overseas, at the age of 16. So before Giannis became Giannis, look at where he went to. He went to the Bucks. And I remember his rookie season, he was trying. He wasn't even Giannis. Like he struggled. He struggled. Nobody really knew but Giannis if he was going to be a baller or not. So sometimes you just can't say, oh, you passed on this guy, you passed on that guy. Nobody was high on Giannis. His first season, he played 77 games, started 23 of those games. He averaged 6 points a game. The next season, 12 points a game. So he really didn't even become Giannis until Jason Kidd said, hey, I see a talent in this guy. I'm going to make this guy a point guard. And I remember that. Jason Kidd saw this guy, 6'11", long wingspan. He could dribble, he could make some plays. And it was on Jason Kidd to go ahead and say, you know what? This guy's going to be a point guard. And from that moment on, Giannis started to become who Giannis is today. Now, I'm not saying that Jason Kidd made Giannis. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Jason Kidd helped to develop Giannis. He helped to get Giannis to where he is today. And Giannis is a phenomenal talent. So, yes, Sacramento, you passed on Giannis, but you really didn't even know Ben McLemore was a better prospect at the time. Nobody knew who Giannis was. People are now starting to understand and starting to value these overseas talent. They're sending scouts out there. By the way, check out that new Adam Sandler movie. It was awesome. That kind of just shows you how these scouts go to these different countries, meet all these young prospects, bring them over, and, get them into the NBA. It happens all the time. And whoever that drafted Giannis deserves, they deserve a lot of money. I don't know if that GM is still there or not, but yeah, Giannis, phenomenal talent. Now, with the Nick Stauskas and the Zach LaVine, we all knew that he was a scorer. We all knew that, he can jump out the gym. But Zach LaVine didn't even really become Zach LaVine until, down the line. We have to remember Jimmy Butler was traded in a package that got Zach LaVine from, I want to say, Minnesota to the Bulls. Or I could be mixing that up, but I do remember Jimmy Butler being centered around a trade for Zach LaVine. I do remember that. Let me look that up because I want to be accurate when I'm giving you guys facts. Zach LaVine. Either way, man, Zach LaVine has come up. Each year he gets better and better and better. Let me look up his Wikipedia. 6'5" guard. Long, rangy, and he was the 13th pick overall, and. Like that first year, Minnesota averaged 10 points a game. Next year, Minnesota 14 and 18. Yeah, he was traded from Minnesota to Chicago. I remember. Yep, for Jimmy Butler. It was a deal for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler went to Minnesota. Mind you, that Jimmy Butler only played 1 year with Minnesota before he got traded from Minnesota to the Sixers, and then we all know how that ended up. They chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has taken his team to multiple Eastern Conference finals, one final. And, Tobias Harris is a contract that the Sixers are trying to get rid of. So it's funny how things happen. By the time that Zach LaVine was traded from Minnesota to Chicago, by that year, he's averaging 18.9 points a game. You're seeing flashes of a potential scorer, but you're not really seeing all-star. The Bulls were seeing all-star, but at that time, I wasn't really seeing an all-star. I just saw a guy, because, when you average 18 points a game, it does not automatically mean you're going to be an all-star. There's tons of great players in the NBA today that are averaging 18 points a game, okay? But they're not realistically all-stars. So I say all this to say you don't know where players go or how they develop. Zach LaVine just happened to develop, you know what I'm saying? He's just been in Chicago forever. And he's 27 years old. It's now time for him to, get paid and, move on. So we'll see what happens with Zach LaVine moving forward. But, I think he's a two-time All-Star, 21 and 22. He's done well for himself. He started out as a dunker, a guy who just dunks the ball and wows the crowd. And now he's become a phenomenal talent. And that's what happens in the draft. So with this draft coming up, I don't know what's about to happen. It's going to be interesting. Let me go over a few of these. Devin Booker, a guy who came off the bench in college. Willie Cauley-Stein, a guy who started in college. He had a good college career, but, it's one of them things where you go for need instead of best available. So it happens. Zach Collins over Bam. I don't know. That can go either way. I think that Bam just developed. When I saw Bam in college, I wasn't too impressed. I knew he was a good player, but I didn't know that he'll become the player that he is today. So now the Luka and Marvin Bagley, that one hurts. If I'm a Sacramento fan, I'll be crying because Marvin Bagley, you know what I'm saying? He has not. What did you literally get from Marvin Bagley? You traded him away for peanuts to the Pistons in a place where he can develop into the player that he was meant to become. Luka is just Luka. That's just a special talent. The Dallas Mavericks knew what they knew to go ahead and make that trade with the Atlanta Hawks to go ahead and get Luka. And Luka is now one of the best, if not top 5, top 7 player in the NBA today, as debatable to his position and ranking currently. So that's what's going on. Let me see. Let's see what Woj is talking about.
I'm told that Kevin Durant has not told the Nets that if Kyrie Irving leaves, that means he's going to ask for a trade. What Kevin Durant wants to know, like any other star of his stature, that if Kyrie Irving does walk, if he took that, let's say the mid-level exception with the Lakers, what would a reconfigured Nets team look like? How would they try to reshape the roster so that the Nets would be able to return, in the near term and have a championship contender? And those will certainly be the questions that Kevin Durant is going to have for the Nets. That's a conversation that I believe they've had. You're always having that conversation with your best player. But I'm told again that Durant has not told the Nets that if Kyrie Irving leaves, that means he's going to ask for a trade. He's got 4 years left on his contract. Certainly, signed that extension last year. But certainly the Nets are aware of the relationship, the connection, the affinity that Kevin Durant has for Kyrie Irving. And that's why they've been working to try to see if they can come up with a deal that meets, it's a negotiation. That meets both what Kyrie Irving is willing to do and what the Nets are willing to do. But, right now, certainly, Kevin Durant's happiness, how he looks at the future of this team, certainly it is a part of that Kyrie Irving negotiation.
Well, that's what happens when you're a superstar and you try to build a super team. It happens all the time. You always have the egos, you have the money, so many different issues. So, look, I don't feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for the Nets at all whatsoever. So, anything can happen. I'm interested to see what happens, but yeah. Let me see. Andre, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. It says, who's your favorite player in this draft, man? To be honest, I've not really dug into the draft. I haven't really dug into the draft. So I don't really have a favorite player, but I do have some guys that I'm looking at to see where they end up. Guys like Scottie Pippen Jr., what I'm saying, the kid from Duke, Paolo. I think the first two picks, even a guy like Chet, phenomenal talent, but he's so slim and slender. Let me go ahead and just hop into the draft talk right now as we speak. I have not really dug into the NBA draft much, but let's talk about some players. Let's look at CBS Sports Line. This kid right here, Jabari Smith, is making waves. I think that Jabari Smith is going to be the number one pick overall. He has a unique skill set. I think Jabari Smith and Paolo, I think those two guys are the most intriguing players in this draft. Do I have a favorite player? I do not have a favorite player, but those are two guys that I'm really, really, really intrigued to see where they end up. Let me share this. I'm going to reshare my screen, give you guys some names. But yeah, Jabari Smith, man, I think he's that dude, man. He's that dude. I'm saying? A guy that's 6'10", can handle the rock. 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, for Auburn. Not only that, he shot 42% from three. So when you look at him, you're looking at a potential, power forward, or I think he's a small forward. He's your typical NBA wing. They list him as a power forward. I see him playing a lot of small ball power forward, but to me, his true natural position is the small forward position. He's your typical wing in the NBA. I'm not calling him Giannis. I'm not calling him KD. But when you look at Giannis and KD, what are they really? They list them as a small forward, a power forward. I think both guys are literally small forwards. Since you like Paolo, yeah, I like Paolo too. Paolo. Now, we're going to talk about him next. Chet is a big risk. So, to me, what Paolo is the same good things I'm saying about Jabari Smith, I'm saying about Paolo. But Paolo is more of a creating wing, a big creating wing, a ball handler. He has great vision. He can create. He can pass. That's a lot of his strength. So, think of Lamar Odom in terms of his passing and dribbling. I'm not saying Lamar Odom talent or skill set. I'm saying in terms of passing and dribbling, that's Paolo all day long. He definitely can work on the shot and improve his three-point shooting and, improve in areas like that. But he's a good rebounder. He's a guy that can rebound the ball, take it coast to coast. Unique skill set at 6'10". I think, like I said, Paolo and Jabari Smith are both going to play the three in the league, and I think both guys have potential to be really good defenders, especially Jabari Smith. He's a really, really, really good defender. Paolo can do the same. So, I'm hoping the Rockets get Paolo. I think it's a great fit with their young nucleus of guards. I would love to see him there. It's going to be fun running up and down. Chet, like you said, Chet is a risk. He's so slim, 7 feet tall, 195 pounds. Jabari is 220. You know what I'm saying? Paolo is 250. Chet is 195. I don't know. He's going to have to bulk up. He's going to have to get to at least 210, 220. I mean, I don't know, man. He can shoot a little bit. He can shoot a lot of it. I'm sorry. He can shoot. He can rebound. He can block shots. But with that small, tiny frame, can he do it in the league? I mean, maybe he might have to play from the small forward. I don't know. Because as a center, I don't see him playing center. Maybe small ball center, maybe some power forward. But as a true center, I don't see it right now, as of right now. Jaden Ivey, a guy that's rising up the boards. I'm hoping that the Sacramento Kings don't get you can't draft another guard. You draft guard after guard after guard, and when you get a good guard like Tyrese Halliburton, you trade him away. So why draft another guard? The best bet for Sacramento is if a guy like Chet or one of these top three guys fall. I'm not Jaden. He can ball. He can ball. Make no mistakes about it. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you get the best available player, but if I am Sacramento, I'm leaning wing, maybe, a big. I just don't want to see another guard in Sacramento. There's a big reason why Sacramento continues to miss on picks. And if you guys can go back and listen to like the earlier part of this podcast, you'll see what I'm talking about. Keegan Murray, Benedict. You have Dyson Daniels. I've heard a lot of great things about this kid. 18 years old, going to be 19. They said that, the way that he picks up the game, long wingspan. He's 6'8", but he plays bigger than 6'8". I think they said he has like a 11 feet wingspan. So this guy right here can be a great, not only a great scorer in the league, but also your prototypical wing defender. So, at 6'8", 195 is different when a guard or shooting guard is 195 opposed to Chet being 195. So yeah, I'm hearing a lot of great things about Dyson Daniels. The upside is there. The upside is there for sure. Shaedon Sharpe, Jalen Duran. So Duran going to the Spurs, a big man from Memphis, 6'11". Okay. Not bad. Averaged 12 and 8 in college. Let me see. Ochai Agbaji. Okay. Nice guard. You know what I'm saying? I like him a lot. 6'6". My dad is big on Ochai. And definitely the Wizards need a guard. So we'll see what happens there. That would be love if he falls to 10. That would be love right there. Johnny Davis. Let me see. Malik Williams, Jalen Williams. You have all these guys. Ty Washington. Now, some of the guys that I'm looking at are going to be some of the names that we all know, either through G League or college. Wendell Moore, Duke, small forward. This is where. Okay, here he is. Trevor Keels. He's a guy that I want my Lakers to draft at 35. We just, pick up that pick. If Trevor Keels falls to 35, that's the pick right there. 6'4", big guard, combo guard, can score the ball, can defend, can do a lot of different things. So let's see where Scottie Pippen Jr.'s son goes. Let's see where some of these other names go, especially in that second round. I think there's going to be some talent available in the second round there's some names that I'm looking for that I didn't see in this mock draft. Like I said, I don't call myself an expert on this draft. I just know certain names. But pretty much after the draft, I'll start, study up some more and kind of learn these players, kind of learn their tendencies and everything. But yeah, a few players I do know, some players I don't know. I'm not familiar with every player in this draft, but literally right after the draft, I started looking at fits and seeing how teams have done. And so my thought on Chet Holmgren, you probably left. I just talked about him. I think he's a good talent. He's a good risk to take. But his frame scares me. That 195 pounds frame at 7 feet tall. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. We will see. But man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. Please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. The Talking Sports with Manny podcast. I'm literally everywhere. I'll be potting more. I'll be streaming more. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please be sure to like. Please be sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys on the next stream. Before I go, I'm going to read this last comment. Andre said a lot of upside. Good jump shot. He can dribble too. Yeah, he can do a little bit of everything. I see him more so as a small forward right now. He can develop into a power forward, maybe a center. All right, guys. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.